ladies and gentlemen, coaches and players. I'm Rob Schreier, and welcome to Hardwood Heroes, your source for Tri-Valley Conference basketball. It's been another action-packed week in the TVC, but Hardwood is here to break it all down, and we don't like to mess around here at Hardwood. So let's start with the week's best in our Game of the Week spotlight. Fedhawk welcomed Eastern to Stewart for a shot to take a stab at the top of the league crown, but the Lancers trailed entering the fourth quarter. But Shayna Kuckler and company forced overtime, but came up short as the Eagles defeated the Lancers 61-56. But to talk more about that game, let's welcome now Matt Archibald covering Federal Hocking. And Matt, let's start with Shayna Kuckler. She was an absolute baller out there on the court. What did she do?
Rob, Shayna Kuckler did everything in this game except serve hot dogs at the snack bar. She had 31 points and 19 boards. She actually had a double-double at the half. She was playing physical ball. She was going right at those defenders, drawing the blocking charge, getting to the free throw line. She was scrappy underneath. As I said, she had 19 boards. And one last thing that was kind of out of her character, she's a post player, but she was kind of the press breaker when Eastern ran their full court press. She'd run down one of the end lines. Hannah McKibben would find her over the top of the defense, and that made 2-on-1 or 1-on-1 chances for the Lancers, which Kuckler finished off very easily. Easy buckets for the Lancers there.
And it came down to the wire. What was the difference in the game for the Lancers?
Two things were really make or break for the Lancers in this game. First off, Eastern made their free throws down the stretch. They struggled from the line. They were 14-30 in the game, but they made it when it counted. And then finally, turnovers by the Lancers were plaguing them all night. They had 14 turnovers in this game, and they lost it in key points in the game. They gave it over to Eastern when they really could not afford to. So a good game. Lancers come up a little bit short, but you hate to see them lose this game.
Yeah, you do. I mean, that was a tough loss for them. I heard you come back from the game and you were just sad. But execution in the game of basketball is what separates the good teams from the great teams. In fact, head coach Joe Butcher and them have taken the message to heart and uses X's and O's to build a recipe for success. Let's now send it back to Matt Archibald with chalk in hand to break down the Lancers offense.
Thanks, Rob. You didn't get it quite right. I'm actually here at the whiteboard. The chalkboard's a little old school. We're trying to be modern here at Hardwood Heroes. Now I'm going to take a look at the Federal Hocking Lady Lancers offense. They do a great job of getting the ball inside to their point scorers and getting really easy looks out of them. So let's take a look at the first play. Now in this first set, we have Hannah McKibben here at the top of the key, Alicia Skinner in the right corner, Brittany Holdren off to the left corner. Shayna Kuckler and Julie Vincent are opposite of each other in the key. Now in this play, Hannah McKibben brings it up. The guards come up to the wing, stopping at about right there. Now in this play, Hannah McKibben pass over to Skinner. Now by that time, Shayna Kuckler has sealed off her defender, making for an easy bounce pass into the key, giving her this whole area wide open to the basket. Easy lay-in for Kuckler. That's how she gets most of her points. Now that's how it looks on the board. Let's take a look at how it looks with real people on the video. Now let's first take a look at this play in slow motion. McKibben swings it over to Skinner. By that time, Kuckler sealed off her defender. Bounce pass into the lane. Easy points, easy bucket, 2 points Lancers. Now in normal speed, McKibben over to the wing to Skinner. Skinner inside to Kuckler. Kuckler up and good for 2 points. All right, now that was the first play, but let's take a look at another play they run that they get a lot of success out of. It's pretty much the same setup here, except Skinner's gone to the left corner and Kate Mace is in place for Brittany Holdren. Now, same thing here. The guards come up to the wing. McKibben dishes off to the right again. Now this is where it gets kind of tricky. Vincent will come across the key to this elbow. Shayna Kuckler swings over to replace her spot. And then at one point, Vincent kind of squiggles down the key here while Shayna Kuckler comes up and replaces Vincent again. She's kind of filling the void that Vincent leaves. Kuckler gets the ball here, and by this time, Vincent has beat both defenders over the top. Kuckler goes with the high pass. Vincent finish. Another easy inside basket, and let's show you again what it looks like on the video. Let's take a look at this play in slow motion. McKibben takes her defender off the dribble, swings it over to the wing to Kate Mace. Now Kuckler comes up to the elbow, and by that time Vincent is lost in traffic. Easy inside pass. Vincent a trip to the free throw line. Okay, in real time now, McKibben takes her defender off the dribble, pass over to the wing to Mace. Mace to the elbow to Kuckler. Kuckler over the top to Vincent. Good look by Vincent. Now those are just a few of many ways the Lancer offense looks to get it done. Now they're going to look for those plays and more to continue their success down the stretch.
and Fed Hawk will need to continue to execute their offense as we now take a glance at the action inside the TVC-Hocking. Waterford and Eastern have taken the reins at the top of the TVC-Hocking mountain, but Trimble has put together a solid January thanks to their high-powered offense and is making some noise inside the league. But can the Tomcats challenge the Wildcats and the Eagles? We're now going to talk with Adam Flango here, who's our resident Tomcat expert. And Adam, it seems like they've been an up-and-down club this year, but talk about what's happened recently with them.
Well, Rob, consistency really has been a big issue for the Lady Tomcats. Coach Richards talked last week about wanting to put together 4 solid quarters. Well, now they have to stretch that out in this series of games and getting a couple of wins together. And so we talked about that, but what's their source of their lack of consistency? Well, defense, Rob. And really all of their lack of consistency stems from defense. Whenever the team is good defensively, like they were in their 10-point win against Nelsonville-York, they really are a hard team to beat. So looking down the stretch, what's something that we can look for specifically? Is there any kind of patch of games where they can get out and start, putting together 2 and 3 games consistently, like you said? Well, they're going to need to, Rob, because to be a successful team in the TVC, you have to win consecutive games. I mean, and certainly the Tomcats are able to do that, but thanks, Adam, for that quality information. And for more information about the Hocking and the rest of the TVC, be sure to peruse the rest of the website. It's www.woub.org/heroes. And each night we'll have the latest scores and highlights from around the area. Also on the site, check out our mid-season Hero of the Year selections from each team. But even though the TVC-Ohio division may seem like a horse race with Alexander owning a 7-0 perfect conference record, there are numerous storylines throughout the rest of the league, and only 3 games separate the 2nd and the 5th ranked teams in the league. Athens rebounded nicely from their 4-game skid with the 40-point drubbing of Wellston on Thursday, and not far behind them you see is Nelsonville-York quietly performing well in conference, fueled by their potent offense. But we're going to talk now with Blake Brody, who's got more information about those Alexander Spartans. And Blake, are you afraid of Alexander having any sort of letdown with the kind of success they've had in conference?
I don't think so, Rob. Coach Guthrie has this team way too focused. In fact, you'll never see a more disappointed coach than Coach Guthrie was after a 13-point victory against Benton County last Thursday night. He had the team actually run sprints after the game because of the sloppy finish in the 4th quarter, which actually saw the Lady Spartans outscored 16-6. Coach Guthrie actually was seen breaking a clipboard late in the 4th quarter, so he was not pleased. This to me shows a team that would almost be too scared to look ahead because he has them way too focused.
I mean, I would hate to be that clipboard, but you talked about that. Have they developed a new set of expectations because they've kind of esteemed themselves so much?
Well, right. Last week I talked about the standard they set for themselves in conference play, but they gained a huge confidence-boosting victory against Toledo Central Catholic last week that showed that against a Division I power that showed that they can win out of conference, which is going to be huge come tournament time.
And they beat Toledo Central Catholic, and that's a team that really no one from Southeastern Ohio is very familiar with. But are you able to say that maybe they could defeat similar opponents like that?
Yeah, like I said, they are a powerhouse team and a Division I team. So that was a huge victory to show that they can take their game out of conference and still be successful. That's going to come in very clutch come tournament time, like I said.
All right. Well, Alexander, certainly a very potent team. We'll look for more from them, not only inside the TVC, but inside the state of Ohio. Thanks, Blake.